Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so glad to have you join us again for another episode of Empowered Heart to Heart. We're so glad to be here today. I have a special guest. I'm meeting some of the most amazing people, and I get to interview them and find out what they're doing in their part of the world and how they are creating impact for those who need us the most. And today is no exception. I have a guest, Miss Audrey Schlackman, and hopefully I said your last name correctly, Schlackman. Did I say it?
Schlackman, yes.
Good, good, good. Welcome, Aubrey. So glad to have you with us. And I believe you are from the
Thank you.
Blue Haven Ranch,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I'm glad to have you with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on here today.
Yes, yes. So tell us about yourself and about your organization and its mission. I'd love to hear it.
Right. So we got started back in 2020 during the pandemic, but that's kind of when we jump started everything. And God just really put it on our hearts to start a ministry for single pregnant mothers with existing children. And for us, we're here outside of the DFW Metroplex in Texas. And so we thought a maternity ranch was what sounded um, fitting and a place that moms and their kids can live and have community throughout her pregnancy and then up to 18 months postpartum. So we focus on serving single pregnant moms through gospel discipleship, farm therapy, and community.
How exciting. That is wonderful.
Thank you.
As you know, we have very similar missions.
Mhm.
And so I'm just excited. We're in the Central Texas area, right outside of Austin. And
Okay.
so, for those who are unfamiliar with Texas, who may be listening or watching, that's probably close to 200 miles between us. Texas is a huge state. And so,
Yes.
there's no competition. There's so much. The need is so great. And so I'm excited. I love the farm therapy and the gospel put together. That is
Yes.
so cool. Love it.
Yes.
Love it.
Thank
So, what is the impact your organization is having on the community there that you're the proudest of?
Well, currently we house 6 families. So we started taking moms in January of 2021. And since then, so not even a full 2 years, and we have 6 families that we're currently housing. And all of this came about before we even knew about the heartbeat bill, which came in September of 2021. And then, of course, before we had any idea that Roe would be overturned. And I think just following the prompting of the Lord to be in this space in this time, in a growing ministry that people believe in, because the need is so great, and it always has been outside of whatever political things are happening. Serving single pregnant moms is always something, and so I'm just really thankful that we can be already like engaged in this season, that
Yeah.
we're already doing things, and that we have our fundraisers coming up here in the next couple of months, and that we can hopefully we have about 7 moms on our wait list, actively waiting to get in. And so I'm really hoping that we can double the amount that we have moving into 2023.
Well, that is exciting. I guess God was moving upon so many hearts in 2020. This
Mm,
pandemic, it's like, some people, some churches, some ministries just woke up like to the many different things that we could be doing in the kingdom. And I think that is fantastic. Our organization started in 2020 as
yeah,
well. So God was just moving,
he was.
in the midst of such a horrible pandemic. God is
Mhm.
still on the throne, and I'm just excited about that. And
Amen.
so I'm just going to piggyback off of something you said. You said you
Okay.
have an upcoming fundraiser.
Mhm.
And so it's a special event, and can you tell us more about it?
Well, yes, our gala is coming up in October, and this will only be our second um, dinner fundraiser. The last one we did in October last year, which was the first one I'd ever had hosted done. Um, and last year's went well, but this year the goal is much bigger. I feel like God has just been present and favorable on our ministry to get started. to be here present where we are and serving our community, but also I think just to encourage other people that we were able to start this ministry out of our home
Mhm.
with just a very basic way to serve these moms in a community sense and cooking with them and having a Bible study and providing. In the beginning, all we were able to provide was maternity leave. We paid every mom for her bills and rent for 2 months, and we threw a baby shower. And so that's what we could do in the basic. And then it grew into what we wanted it to be, which was being able to house moms. So we don't currently have the ranch land. We've taken from nothing and started building over the last 2 years to get to something like a maternity ranch. And so we currently house our moms in apartments, and we pay for those, the 6 families that we're housing. But currently, we have a contract on 124 acres outside of the Metroplex for the ranch. And so that's what we're fundraising for the gala. And we have a fun theme for the gala, and it's Chopped for Charity. And so we're kind of doing it after the Chopped TV show, where we're going to have some guest chefs and some guest judges, and that'll kind of be the entertainment for the night. But individuals who are at the gala will also get to auction off for the meals that are prepared during the competition and stuff. So it's just going to be a fun night while we're trying to raise the money to purchase the land and to keep growing.
Wow. Two things you said that just stuck in my mind. Number one, sometimes I think as a nonprofit founder, people may not understand that it takes time to build your organization, and that, yes, you have a vision, but that vision takes a whole lot of work to get there. And
Yes.
I,
Mhm.
I tell you, I don't know how you feel, but I have learned so much uh,
Oh,
in the past two
it's a
years.
vast education.
Yes, yes. And fundraisers, people come out and they have a good time. They have no idea the work that goes into it.
Mm.
Oh my goodness, and the sleepless nights. Quick question. Do
Yeah,
you wake up thinking about stuff to do?
I dream about it.
Yes. Okay, I'm not
Dream.
the only one.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
you're not. I mean, it's really difficult sometimes to have to space out um my brain and
yes.
this is family time. I have 2 little boys under 5.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so, creating those spaces of this is work time. Because I mean, as a founder of a nonprofit, it's constant, and the moms
Yes.
are always communicating and the volunteers are always communicating. And so, but to finally be able to put that aside and be like, okay, I'm gonna focus on the kids and on
Mhm.
my husband and try not to engage, even though my brain is kind of spinning in the back still.
Yes.
Um, but I write lots of notes and I take down on my phone, on paper, just to get it out of my head so that I can sleep for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, in order for anyone to get tickets to your gala, would they go to your website that's on the screen right now?
Well, it's kind of crazy. I wasn't really expecting this, but it's sold out. Yeah, just like a couple weeks ago. I think just with Roe happening and some of the attention that we've received, it was it was I mean, it was a 200 seat event, and I just didn't expect in our second year to have a good problem like that. And so,
Wow.
um, really kind of where I'm pointing people to now is, I don't know if you're familiar with North Texas Giving Day. I don't know that's necessarily an Austin thing. It's definitely up here.
Yes.
And that's happening on September 22nd. And that's more of a online fundraiser giving
Right.
day. And so
Right.
we have a goal of $100,000 on North Texas Giving Day online, so that we can
Wow.
start adding some of these moms off the wait list. So
That is wonderful. I Because while you were talking, I was thinking you're paying rent,
yeah, it's
for
expensive.
yes, and rent and utilities?
Oh, yes, and we help pay for, childcare when they need it. Um, occasionally we'll help with other things. I've got a mom right now that we partner with another nonprofit that helps with cars.
Mhm.
And so they had a car donated, um, to them for our mom, which was really sweet.
Mhm.
And so they fix it up, and we're about to put that fundraiser out online, just to pay for the repairs that we needed for the van for this mom. She's got um, two girls and had her sweet boy in our program. She's doing really well and got a new kind of career license that she worked on during her maternity leave and postpartum. And she's already got her job. And so we move her into her new, she's in the transition out part of the program, which is our community placement. It's the last 6 months of the program. So like from the baby's, first birthday-ish to like 6 months after that,
Right.
we help them find like where do they want to be in community. And so she's got a job and some family in another part of town. And so we're helping to move her to a new rent house that she's going to be able to afford. And so kind of getting her this van is kind of that last step. And like, she's got 3 kids. She needs a little bit bigger vehicle that can hold up. So yeah.
That is amazing. So that you're doing a fantastic job. And
Thank
so
you.
what are your biggest challenges?
Oh, that's a good question. I think personally, my biggest challenge is balancing my heart for what I want to do,
Mhm.
which is be on the ground with these moms and add as many as possible. And that's just not something that I can do. You have to abide by funding and, taking care of your board and your volunteers and the moms that you currently have, and being a good steward of the things that people give you. And so, that pulls you in a lot of different directions where, my heart is to be like in it with them. So, and I still get to do that. But I would love to be able to take more moms.
Mhm.
I would love to be able to do that sooner rather than later, just because that's the ministry that God put on our heart to be able to add them to our community and support them. And so I'm just thankful that God has allowed us to do so well so far. And I'm just hoping that this fall finishes out with um, great funding so that we can make another impact on a bunch of families.
Wow, that is fantastic. Wow, wow, that is great. So how do these moms find you?
Oh, so many different ways. Because we're still so limited, I mean, we already have a wait list of 7. I don't really advertise, but I certainly don't have a problem with people finding me. We have a great network of other nonprofits and other maternity homes here in the Dallas Metroplex area, because we all take different moms. And since we're specifically housing single pregnant moms who already have kids, which a lot of maternity homes don't have the space for moms with multiple kids, and that's really what we've focused in on, because we found there was a big gap there. So a lot of them find us through other ministries, that know about us and that feed them our way.
Right. I read in the Texas Tribune earlier this year that Texas rates the highest in repeat teen births.
Mm,
And I believe at this point, the CDC says Texas is number 9
mm,
in um, teen births, first time teen births, but as
mm,
far as repeat teen births,
mm.
Texas ranks the highest. And so, as I said at the beginning, there is plenty to be done in this state,
There
as
is.
well as other areas, around the country. But there's so much to be done, and I'm so glad to be sharing this space with you.
Yeah.
This is really great. Um, and so, if someone wanted to get involved with your organization in some capacity, how would they do it?
On our website, bluehavenranch.org, we have a volunteer tab. And so that's probably the easiest way that people can go and put in their information. But it also then gives a lot of list of the different kinds of volunteer opportunities that we have here on the ground. There's other things that we have, like, remotely when people want to get involved. Like, we have a baby shower that's going to come up soon, and we'll be posting her gift registry online, and people can purchase those, and it gets shipped to the volunteer that I have that manages all of that and wraps those. And so that's an easy way to do it remotely. And then we have other things like our care team, which comes in after the mom has had a baby to help, because I mean they have no one, literally no family, obviously no significant other. And when you have no one and you have a newborn and kids, I mean, that's just an overwhelming, task. And so we have a care team that'll come in a couple days a week and just be there for a couple hours to help mom feed them lunch and get naps and, help mom nap or shower or eat or all of it if possible.
Right.
um, and we have our moving team, which helps us because we're constantly moving furniture around for these moms because we take donated furniture to furnish all the apartments. So that's pretty constant. And then our grandparent program is just super dear to my heart, where we bring in um, empty nesters who want to be adoptive grandparents in a sense to these moms because these moms don't have supportive grandparents. And when you're missing that generational support system, both emotionally and mentally, but also just as a family function, so that the moms and the kids can see positive male role models and what a family dynamic, is supposed to look like. Our grandparents are just super sweet. So that's a special volunteer space.
Wow, that is wonderful. That is wonderful. So, where do you see Blue Haven Ranch 5 years from now?
Oh gosh. I definitely can see that we will be on the ranch land. I think the maternity ranch will be um, a very soon reality.
Mhm.
And it's exciting to see that, to go out to the 124 acres that we have the contract on and picture it all, with the community center and the mother cottages and, the staff homes and everybody kind of living in this community so that the kids get to be outside and play, and the moms aren't worried about where they're outside and playing because they're around all these other moms and kids and in a safe place. And I mean, I think for any mom, that's what you want for your kids, to be able to experience nature and animals and other loving people um, in an environment that is uplifting. And so I think it will be a reality uh, in the next couple of years. And then hopefully 5 years we're able to, continue expanding into the community in a sense that we can see ourselves growing, that once we're established with, being able to house, our goal is to be able to house 20 families on the ranch with the community center and the staff. Um, but we could probably even be able then to help um, families that are not living on site also, that may need support but maybe not housing support, to be able to come in and have their counseling sessions and still be able to participate, in the farm therapy and other classes that we have, to be more of a even larger impact on the community. That's the goal.
Wonderful, wonderful. I tell you, the scripture comes to mind, without a vision, the people perish. And you certainly have a vision for what God has placed in your heart to do. And that's wonderful.
Thank you.
And I love how authentically and freely you talk about your connection with God and your Christian roots and
Yeah.
backgrounds. And so,
None of this would happen. I mean, God has just been so, oh gosh, focused and helping us. I mean, really just him putting this on our hearts and giving us the vision for it was the first part of it. And then just bringing us the people and the finances to make it happen. We've just been witness to his faithfulness and almost an accelerated growth spurt, I think, just to meet the times that we're in. I've never been a part of anything in my life normally uh, that moves quite this quickly. And so, I mean, just I mean, we have 30 or 40 volunteers continually, weekly, monthly involved, and an amazing board and donors that are just super dedicated. And it's just beautiful to see the community that he's created around us while we're trying to create this community around these families.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Now, I know you said you started in 2020,
Mhm,
like we did, but I know God first put this vision for the Simmons Empowerment Foundation in my heart
mhm.
19 years ago. Um,
Wow.
yeah, right before I moved to Texas,
Mhm,
because I'm in ministry, and uh, I married an active duty soldier and was about to move to Texas with him.
Uh-huh.
And I just prayed. I remember the spot in my house in my hometown, and I prayed, God, what am I supposed to do? I don't know anybody in Texas.
Oh.
What am I supposed to do? And that's what he said, start a home for unwed teen moms. And I opened my eyes and I'm like, really? Okay. And then a whole lot of life happened in those 19 years. And,
Wow.
because as the scripture says, the vision is for an appointed time.
Yes.
And it wasn't until the shutdown when I was at home and I prayed and God said, now. And I'm like, oh,
Oh,
okay. And like you said, things just fell into place really quickly.
yeah.
And so I'm amazed. You have had exponential growth
Yes.
and impact. And I'm just so thankful to God for that. Um, and so it's your organization, because you refer to it often as a ministry. Is it
Mhm.
connected to a church, or is this just something that you're doing for God? Because
It's just us. I mean, our church, we go to the Village Church in Flower Mound, and they have been super supportive of our mission and our vision. But we started this on our own. We are our own 501(c)(3). I know
so
it's a nonprofit, but I mean, I know my husband and I and all our volunteers. I mean, this is a ministry. You know, we are compelled by the love of Christ to love and serve others, and minister to the least of these, and those that it says that to take care of orphans and widows is true religion. And so it's like, well, this is our calling, and this is how we feel compelled to step into that, because that can look so many different ways, but
yeah,
that's just how he's uniquely God has uniquely designed us, and
wow.
our specific vision of a ranch, because it doesn't have to be, I mean, that it can be that, it can look so different for so many different people. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes. And so it sounds like, will you need to build on the
Mhm.
24 acres? Yeah. And so I was thinking while you were talking, I'm one of those Joseph dreamers, as I call it. And, uh, you know, to me, there is no such thing as anything that's too outlandish. But
No.
I was thinking, as a 501(c)(3),
Mhm.
we're nonprofit. We're both nonprofit founders, and we understand what that means. But that also means that other businesses can donate to um, our organizations
Mhm.
and use that donation as a tax write-off,
Oh, yeah.
meaning that God can put it on the heart of a builder to say, I'm going to build your ranch for you, and this will be a tax write-off for us, and you don't have to pay anything.
It's
And
amazing how God does things.
yes. And
Yes.
so that is quite a possibility that has been in my mind for months now, that
Yeah.
God is able to do that. And I'm not saying He doesn't want us to work, but I think we're already proving that.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
but
Absolutely. I
imagine
think it's a
how much
balance of working and having faith that he
yes,
provides. It's a really hard, I don't even know that it's a faith. I mean, there's not really like a line that you can draw that out and be like, this is how this works, and this is how this works, and this is how it meets in the middle.
yeah,
Um, it's
they're
just
blended
walking
together.
it as faithfully as you can to do the work and then watch him show up.
Yes, yes. So, our mission is to have that home for unwed teen moms
Mhm.
and to empower them through pre and postnatal health education, job skills training,
Yes.
which is a part of our Dear Future Me program, and coaching as well.
Mhm.
And so I know our missions are very similar. So my question to you is, what does empowerment mean to you?
Mm. I think as a mom myself, empowerment means, because I mean, all of us are only one tragic, random thing away from being in a totally different life space than we are right now. Only due to the providence of God, that I have a supportive husband and these two sweet boys. And Um, but I think in order to be empowered as a mother, to be able to take care of yourself and your children and feel that you are capable of doing that, both mentally and emotionally, and also physically and financially. And so stepping into that space with these moms who have come out of so many different backgrounds, um, of either abandonment, or abuse or divorce, or even being a longtime single mom and finding yourself in some crazy, weird situation, uh, to be able to step into that space with them and be like working on their mindset and showing them the love of Christ in the midst of their pregnancy and postpartum, while you're then meeting them in a space financially and practically speaking of like, let's help you plan a new career. Let's help you achieve that. Let's look at your finances and give you financial coaching. And there's a practicality of it that meets itself in the mind and in the heart, to prepare these women so they feel their worth that God has placed in them, so that they can see themselves as worthy of better love, better treatment, and as being a capable mom to go forward and take care of the children that God has given them.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, there's a saying that says, uh, "If I knew better, I would do better." You
Mhm.
know, and that may not be true of everyone, but I just believe that there are so many people out there, especially moms, single moms,
Mhm.
who really truly would do better if they had the opportunity.
Yeah.
And I appreciate so much that you have created this space for them and that you are already making an impact. And I'm just going to touch and agree with you right now that you're going to get that $100,000 for your fundraising. Between the gala and the fundraiser that you're going to have online, that is wonderful. Um, I know we typically focus on the International Giving Tuesday. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, and so that's an exciting time, and so it's just so important that people understand that it truly is more blessed to give than
And
to receive,
mhm.
and you have no idea what you're opening when you begin to sow into quality God-centered charities like Blue Haven Ranch. And so I'm just so thankful that you're here with me today. Any closing remarks or anything that you'd like to share that maybe we didn't cover?
Oh goodness. I'm just thankful to be here on the show with you, and I just, yeah, God's gonna do what He's gonna do, and
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm just excited to be along for the ride, to have been allowed into this space, and um, that He gave us the faith to do this, and I get to watch Him show
yeah,
off and do this.
yeah,
And I think there are big things happening this year. And I'm excited in the future to share that with people. I think that's been something we've gotten a lot of questions about on this. I can't tell you how many times I get emailed that people are like, "Oh, I've always wanted to do something like that. How did you do that?" And I think coming into next year, I think that's going to be something that we really try to start targeting as well, which was not an original idea of this nonprofit, but just the programming that we've built out and this mindset of how we're doing it. I just, we want to make it available to other couples and other people and individuals in other cities in the states now, because of where we're at, as a
yeah,
culture, that I want to make it available for other people to not have to make the mistakes I made, but to start with it.
absolutely.
Because you start with what you have, and you just keep going.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being with us. And if you'll
Okay.
just sit tight, I'll be with you in just a moment. Thanks again, Aubrey. All right. That was a fantastic interview. We're so glad that you were able to join us today. Please make sure that you subscribe if you're watching this on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to Empowered Heart to Heart so that you get notified of every episode that's uploaded. Also, we want you to like, comment, and share this video. If you're listening on the podcast, like the podcast. We're so glad to be able to have been able to share with you about the Blue Haven Ranch organization in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Thanks so much and have a great, blessed, and empowered day.